You've just gotten to level 80. What do I do? How do I gear? Right? So I'm going to try and simplify it as much as possible. There are a lot of different ways to gear. Before I say that, by the way, there is one very important thing I want to say. On any new character, I will just showcase it to you because I'll just log on another character and show you what happens. This is very, very important. I don't know if they're going to fix this or if it's fixed today, but it was not fixed yesterday, apparently. We're now 1 day into the season. Right here, I'm in the PvP area again, right? On a different character. Right here is a quest. You have to pick this up before you do anything that gains Conquest in the game. Always run over here and get this quest. This quest is what gives you a weapon, a Conquest weapon for free after 3 weeks. So you pick up this quest before you do anything. The reason is this has like a Conquest gain, right? And if you start gaining Conquest before you pick up this quest, then it won't count towards the quest. And then instead of getting this weapon on week 3, you're going to have to wait longer. So always remember on every character, run straight over here, pick up this quest. Otherwise, you're going to be behind at some point. The easiest thing I can tell you is to just get Honor Gear, right? Just get Honor Gear Forehead. This is the gear you want to go into Arena with initially, or start, you know, you want to start grinding full Honor Gear. So you just go right here in the main town. The main town is in Isle of Dorn. And then right here is the main town. And this area here is the PvP area, the circle. And in this room, you have all the vendors for PvP. Right? So you start off by trying to gather all the Honor Gear. It's actually extremely fast to get it. I think on average, people say it's about 5 hours of grinding Battlegrounds. You can do it, but I'm not sure if that's true. But you can definitely get like pretty much full gear in a day, most people, if you play a lot. Right? Next step, like again, I want to do simple terms. You get Honor Gear, then you get Conquest Gear, then you're done. Right? Honor Gear, and then over here, no, sorry, right next to him. Right next to him is Conquest Gear. That's the 639. This is the best gear in the game. One thing as well is that there is another set that you can also skip, but no one is skipping it right now because it's early season, and it's called Token Gear. And that is the gear in between Honor Gear and Conquest Gear. It's from this guy. That is item level 636. So it's only 3 item levels lower than the best gear. So it's almost as good as the best gear. So you can farm some of this too. And I would very much recommend that, at least now early season. But later on in the game, there's going to be catch-up systems, right? So you get more and more Conquest. We're capped to 1600 now. Every week it increases. And later on in the season, you will just be able to get full Conquest Gear right away. And you can skip Bloody Token. But I'll also explain quickly how Bloody Token Gear works. So that is just a separate cap. 1350 now. This is something that increases every week as well. The way you get Bloody Token is just, this is the PvP area, right? And there's PvP quests right over here. And every week he gives you a quest. I've finished it. It's a token quest. And it will pick one area in the game. Hallowfall, Ringing Deeps, Ashkehead, or Isle of Dorn. I think this week it's Isle of Dorn. And then you pick up the token quest and you just go over here, pre-made groups, custom, start a group. No, I mean, you can start too, but find a group and just search for Spark. And as you see, everyone is doing this. You can be max 5 people. You just apply for any group. You see where they are. Like right now, there's a Bloody Token quest right here. So everyone is just fighting over here. And there's just like big groups of people. You just stick around, tag people until you have 100 Sparks, which you get from killing players. It's very simple. I did it earlier on my outer mage. It took about 10 minutes. And then, you know, obviously do the world quest too. So you get 500 Bloody Token. I think you get like 1,000 for the quest when you get the Sparks. And yeah, shit like that. But it's really easy to get. And then when you've done that quest, you deliver it. You're probably already capped, and then you can just go buy some of this gear too. It's like the in-between gear. Anyways, with the crafting. So, Pick up that quest. That's the first thing you should do if you have honor gear, right? Say you dinged 80, you got some honor gear, you want to try some rated PvP for fun, you know? Maybe you want to try solo shuffle arena or solo rated battleground or 2s with your friend or 3s, you know, or maybe you want to do RBG. I don't know. Whatever you fancy. There's a lot of options nowadays. So you just queue it up. You could just queue it up with honor gear, and as soon as you win something, there's a very high chance that you get a quest in your bag. Like a quest drop. And you just right click it. You turn it in and then you get 9 of the mats that you need to craft gear. The gear that you can craft with those mats is also the exact same as Conquest gear. It's the exact same item level. So a lot of the gear is going to be crafted gear. That's your best in slot. You can of course just play with the Conquest gear, but what's nice or what's important with the crafted gear is that you can add something called embellishments. And that's basically a buff to your gear. So you can have 2 embellishments per character. And I, like for example, on my mage, I went with this embellishment that is called Ascendance. Gain Ascendance every 8 seconds, blah, 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 blah. It gives me some stats. And then the second embellishment I went for is on my belt. And this is a Nerubian embellishment. It basically doubles this embellishment. So I have the same embellishment twice. The best embellishment for your class is hard for me to say. We don't really know. I mean, honestly, I haven't tested this either. It's really awkward system, I think, because you can't really know what's best without like putting it on your gear. And when you've crafted, it's really, you know, you can recraft, but it's a bit of annoyance to do. And testing these things out can be a little bit clunky. But like the word is out that Ascendance with the double is really overpowered, right? So a lot of people are doing that. There are other options too. A lot of people are saying this is probably going to get nerfed as well because it seems way better than the other embellishments. So we'll see. Quickly, I can very much suggest that people familiarize themselves with, this is my favorite website for checking out gear, murloc.io. This is a really good website for, it's bugged now because I have ad blocker, no flame of course. You just go here and check out all the high-rated players. We're 1 day into the season, so I have no idea if these people are good. They've just played a lot, but you can like click people here, see what they're wearing. You can even go to their armory. And then eventually, you know, in a few weeks, I'm pretty sure, you know, everyone that is high-rated wears the same shit. This is always how it is. Okay, so this is the annoying part. Crafting. Crafting is annoying. This is the crafting station. It's over here. So like I said, you've done rated PvP now. You got the 9 things to craft gear with. I've already used them. And usually, I believe belts cost me like 4 of them to craft a belt. And I think the helm was 5, if I remember right. And then I used all 9 of them. So that's what I've done so far. I've crafted the belt and I've crafted a helm with the 9 crafting mats that I got. That's like the only mat that is hard to get and it's like time gated because you can't buy it infinitely, right? So that's like the only mat you really care about, the only mats for crafting. All the other stuff, you just buy it on the auction house. And it's usually pretty cheap. Or maybe it isn't right now because it's the start of the expansion, but like later on, it won't be that bad. So, crafting, right? So you gotta figure out what you want to craft. So I can tell you what I've done as a mage, right? I can tell you what I've done. I have 2 mages on 2 different accounts if you're getting confused by this. I'm just logging to this one because this one has everything now. I did everything on him yesterday. And I'm happy with his gear setup. So I decided to, this is, I saw Venruki suggested this, and I thought it was a great idea. So basically what he, this adds a little bit of complication to it, but I think it's really smart. So basically what he did was he went over to the honor vendor, right? And he bought this mat. I don't remember how many it is. I can check on my other character. A weapon costs, the PP weapon is here, it costs 10 of these. So I bought 10 of these for honor, and then I crafted I crafted a weapon. Now, this is the exact same weapon as the one you buy here, right? It's the same as this, 626. It doesn't matter that it's green or blue. You always look, for PvP, you always look at the bottom. Equip, increase item level to a minimum of 626. They're both 626, it's the same shit. When you're in PvP, no difference. The reason we craft this one is because there is a specific embellishment that you can only add on weapon, I believe. And that is this one, the Ascendance one that people are saying is OP. So that's why we're crafting a weapon simply to add this embellishment. Right? You have now the 9 pieces of this, but epic version from the quest that I talked about, and you're going to start crafting. So like I said, for mage, I went with the... I crafted this to get the embellishment for honor, and then I crafted a belt to get to double this embellishment. We have our 2 embellishments. Then you just go here, and I go cloth, and I go belt, and I search. And then you see, this is the PvP one, like I said. Increase item level to a minimum of 606. This is the PvP one. Right? It says 606, but we're going to change that. We click it. And then you just have to give all the ingredients here. Right? You can press, to make it simple, you can press track recipe. So here is where you put in this. This is what you get from the quest that I talked about. You have 9 of them. And he wants 4. To craft this belt, so you click that. I'll just use this now. And then you have to go to auction house to buy this, auction house to buy this, and then for additional stuff, this is if you want to add an embellishment, right? You got to find the embellishment you want. We used on the belt this one. It says double the effects. It's called Riffing Armor Band. So you just take a mental note of that. Find that on auction house as well. Riffing, however you pronounce it. And I guess the question everyone asks is, does it matter what quality they are? And it doesn't. For PvP, you can just buy whatever is the cheapest, usually bronze. Sometimes silver is cheaper. You always buy the cheapest because in PvP, everything scales up anyway. If you're a PvEer, you need ranks. I don't know how PvEers do things. But in PvP, you don't care about quality. You just buy whatever's cheapest for all the mats. Doesn't matter because this thing right here will make everything max, enabling it to scale to 639. So in PvP, it's all max anyway. Easy clap. And then here on this, you just have to pick a missive that is whatever stats you want to have on this item, because it says random stats. Here you can pick a specific one. I'm going with haste and versatility, which I guess most classes are. I guess some classes go with mastery and versa as well for PvP. Yeah. A little side note here. Auctionator is really nice for this, because if you track the recipe like I did there, and then I open my auction house, I can click search here, and then it just shows me the mats right here. You click this, I pick the cheapest one, boom, and it already put in the amount I need, and I can just press buy now. Next mat, boom. Pick the cheapest one, it already put in how many I need, buy now, boom. Easy clap, done. You go back to crafting, find it again, cloth, waste, click it, pick the PvP item, fill everything in, boom, fill this in, it autofills. Click this, pick the riving, whatever, and then you click this, everything's filled in, you pick a commission, so like this is, if you're in a big guild or you talk to a guild and you're like, can someone craft this? Then you can put it as a guild order and they can see it in your guild and craft it for you. If you know someone personally, you can send it to them with their character name, realm, whatever. Or you can put a public one for everyone. And I'd suggest putting a little bit higher commission there because that's how much they get paid to make it. So they're more inclined to pick yours. But, depends on your glods. And then you just put in the number. Then you want to be friendly. I usually do 3K, which is more than most people, I guess. So that they hopefully craft it faster. And then place order. And you're done. And then you just have to wait for someone to craft it. And it shows up in your mailbox. You click it, equip it, and there it is. Now you have the best in slot waste with an embellishment. I will never upgrade this probably for the rest of the season. I decided to get the engineering helm, which you can also do. There's a PvP engineering helm. This Tinker socket doesn't do anything for PvP, by the way. It just requires you to learn engineering. If you want to do the same thing I did, you need to have engineering level 1. It doesn't, you know, it's your preference. I just like doing that. The difference is just that this is one stat. You can pick one stat and go all in on that stat, and this will split them up. That's the only difference. So I went full haste on it, and I skipped versatility. The reason I have a socket there is because I added another socket slot. This Tinker slot doesn't do it. Tinker socket doesn't do anything for PvP. So that's the only difference. I just did that because I prefer that, but most people are going to go with the other one, which gives, you can go haste and versa, like all the other items. Right? Now, a lot of people are asking me, how did I decide what pieces to buy first on my mage? First of all, I want to say you don't have to stress out. We're going to get fully geared insanely fast. If you make a mistake, it's not going to hurt you for that long. So don't stress out. But I can tell you what I decided to do. So I did that Spark quest that I showed you earlier. And then I went over here and I decided to buy the Spark feet because they have haste versatility. So I like those. And then I could also afford another item. I see a lot of people go with wrist, for example. Which is also haste versa, but I decided to not go with wrist, and I went with the cloak instead for haste versa, because that's the stats I want. The reason I went with cloak over wrist was just because you can buy sockets to put on wrist, and I don't want to socket a 636 item. I want to wait until I get my 639 item, and then socket that instead, you know? But it doesn't matter that much. You can do whatever you want. And then I have Conquest. What did I do with my Conquest? I haven't even spent it all, as you can see. I still have 900. But I wanted to get set bonus as fast as possible. So you can buy one piece of Conquest gear, and you can convert it into a tier item. Right? So here is another kind of like important thing that you should keep in mind. Before I explain what I picked, I want you to know that in any bracket, as soon as you reach 1600 rating, you get a set piece item for free. So that's a reward. Like any bracket, you reach 1600, you get a mail that you can open with an item that allows you to purchase a set item for free. And you just have to go over to Ashkahet into the city. It's here. Boom. Right there. There are a bunch of vendors right there. So in Ashkahet and this town down here called City of Threads. And then this area right here is a bunch of vendors. You find the right one. How you know it's the right one is the same as before, right? It says on the item at the bottom. Increase item level to 639. Another best in slot piece in Arena and Battleground. A PvP item. That's how you know. So make sure you don't buy like a PvE item or something like that. If you want a PvP. What I did then was I looked at all the stats and I figured that out of those three pieces, helm, chest, and legs, it's between chest and legs, right? And I decided to go for legs because they have more haste and I like them more. I like haste a lot. Haste is really fun to play with, so I just like prioritize that. But you're probably gonna get you're gonna get the chest later anyway, so you can pick that too if you want, because you need 4 set, right? Some classes don't even do 4 set, by the way, because some classes have so bad set bonuses. I don't know in the War Within who and what, but some classes have a really bad set bonus that they don't care about at all for PvP. And then what they'll do is they'll craft or buy Conquest pieces instead of getting 4 set because the stats are more to their liking. So what I did is I got the legs and then I bought the gloves from this Conquest vendor. I bought these gloves. It doesn't matter which stat you buy if you're going to convert them to tier set. So, but you know, I buy these gloves, haste versa gloves. And then I'll show you where you go. You go right over here. And on the map, right over here. You click this thing, and you drag in those gloves that you bought, right? You would drag them in like this, and then they would turn into a set bonus. The Conquest item, turn into set bonus, I press transform. I only have one right now. Every week it will increase. So that's why I have 2 set already, because I bought the Conquest gloves, converted into a set, and then I bought these legs over here from reaching 1600 in 3v3. Okay, I could talk about sockets and enchants, because sockets and enchants changed a little bit, especially sockets, right? So I can explain that too. We can make that into another part. So the way sockets work now, you don't do what you did in Dragonflight. It's very simple. They changed the pricing too, by the way. You just buy this. So same as before. PvP area, vendors. You go to the left, and this guy sells sockets. So you can add a socket to all of this. You can add it to helm, neck, bracer, belt, and ring. But the jewelry can have 2 sockets, meaning neck can have 2 sockets, ring can have 2 sockets each, right? That's how that works. So in total, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sockets, right? As you can see, it costs 5,000 honor to buy 1 socket, but you also need 3 of these stones that cost 2.5k each. Now, the thing about these stones is that you can buy them on the auction house too. Yeah, so that's the sockets, and then there's enchants. So I'm not 100% sure on the enchants, but it seems pretty self-explanatory, right? So it's the same enchants as before, except I don't think we get a belt we don't get a belt thingy, but everything else is the same except belt, I think. So the enchants we get for PvP is, let's see, it's Cloak, which is like a piss enchant. Leech doesn't work, but the heal at the end of this does work. So if that's randomly overtuned, maybe that's good, but I doubt it. Speed does work in PvP. And then you have the third one is Avoidance, which also is a PvE enchant. So you go for the speed one. I don't think this one's good, but yeah, you go for speed, so you move a little bit faster. And these up here are just like worse versions, I think. 160. And then you go to these really expensive ones, these 3. 250 speed. As you can see, it's super overpriced right now. 15k for an enchant that gives you 250 speed. So things are really, really expensive right now because it's start of the expansion, start of the season. These prices will lower. It's always like that at the start. So I would just go for the speed one, right? And then you have chest enchant, right? You just look here, item level 610, and then rank 3. You need rank 3 enchants. So these are the options you have. And you can see very expensive. And you know, if you read them, it's pretty self-explanatory. This gives a lot of intellect. This gives less intellect, but 5% more mana. As a mage, do you care about mana? Absolutely not. So this is best in slot. That's your only 2 options. Down here, same shit. Strength plus strength, or what does it not give? Agility? Oh, there's just 2 different ones. Okay, yeah. This one's agility. This one's strength and stamina. This one gives agility and speed. Right? So strength for warriors, agility for rogues, and mana, that's going to be for healers, I guess. And this is for DPS. But I guess some healers will just like skip the mana thing too and go straight for this because they want the intellect. But yeah. And then you have wrist, same shit here. Avoidance, leech, and speed. So you just go for the speed. I assume. There's a, yeah, I have this now, but there's this. I haven't read this one yet. Ancient magic that... wait, it gives 1,000 speed? Isn't that a lot? God damn. What does that mean exactly? Does anyone know? So it's just leech, avoidance, speed. And for PvP, avoidance doesn't work. I think some leech works in PvP, but last expansion, leech from enchants didn't work. It only worked from talents. So unless something changed this expansion, I'm pretty sure the only real option is speed. Let me see. Where are the ones I want? Here. I don't know why it's so scuffed on this one to find them, but here you go. It's intellect and stamina versus intellect and maximum mana. So I'm going with intellect and stamina because I don't care about the extra mana. Rank 3, sunset. That's the best one, right? And then I guess if you're not a caster, it would be these, right? Which they're randomly not epic. And then there's this 620 agility or strength versus 930 agility or strength and stamina. So, you know, it's stormbound. Increase agility or strength. Armor. So you're going to go with this. Agility and armor. This is agility or strength plus armor. So all the melees are going to go for stormbound. And then all the casters are going to go for sunset. And maybe some healers and stuff go for daybreak. Right? Easy clap. Now you have feat enchant. Feat enchant. We have, let me see. Mounted speed, who cares? Stamina by 895 versus speed by 250. I usually just go for the speed, but I can definitely see how the stamina is good too. Look at these disgusting prices, by the way. Oof. But yeah, that's the option there. Those two. Stamina versus speed. Most people just go speed, but, you know, if you want a little bit more HP, you can go stamina too. There's a bit of an option there. And then there's the finger enchant. There's a lot of those. So this is like these are the cheap ones or scuffed ones. And then you have the really good ones over here. There's versatility. There's 3 different versions, I think. The scuffed one that you don't care about, but they're cheap. So maybe you want to buy that if you don't have the glods. And then you have, for example, we do Cursed Haste. It takes away some of your versatility while granting you 390 haste. And then the third version will be down here, Radiant, that just straight up gives you 315. So this will give you a little bit more haste, but it will take away versatility. So I went for the Radiant one, just straight up 315. But I can see how sometimes you'd maybe want to pick the cursed ones instead. So it's basically Radiant versus Cursed. So I have double Radiant. And then Weapon Enchant. Now I'm not 100% sure on this. Usually Weapon Enchant is the big one. Like Leg Enchant gives a lot. And Weapon Enchant. Weapon Enchant is usually the most important one. I think that the Radiant Power one is the best. Probably for everyone. But it could be different. So this is the Radiant Power one. So it's not so much about the damage it does there. Smiting your target for blah, blah, blah damage. It's more about the fact that it gives you primary stat by 2,230. Primary stat means intellect. It means strength. It means agility. Your main stat as whatever class you are. And usually, unless something has changed this expansion, but I'm pretty sure it hasn't, this stat, intellect, is way more valuable than haste or mastery or crit or versa, like your secondary stats. Intellect has a lot more value. And I don't think that's changed. So like, I would assume that this is just going to be the best enchant by far. But it could be that some other classes want some of these other ones. Maybe they're overtuned or something. A lot of them gives like random proc damage or you know, other stats. Maybe some classes like, oh, if I get this mastery proc at the right time, I do like broken damage, you know, like could be possible. I'm just kind of assuming that the Radiant one is the best. What do they say? What is it they say? The YouTubers. Follow and no, there's no follow. You just subscribe. Oh, and go to Twitch TV/Trillebartom. I stream there every single day pretty much. Full-time streamer, by the way. And yeah. Okay, bye. Like, subscribe, and comment. There you go. Thank you.